So let's get rolling. Next thing we're going to do is we need to get this exported out, create the Dxf files, which are the cut lines for the next part of the process. So even before you do that, actually, you need to cut a hole in the middle and make sure that the clock mechanisms fit. Ask me about that. I'll help you with figuring out how to do all that. Basically, you're going to create a sketch on here and then just put a circle at the very middle and extrude it all the way through. But first, you need to measure how big the hole is, and I'll show you how to do all that in class. All right. After you're done with that, so I'm just going to punch a hole in it real quick. I don't know how big the hole should be, so don't do your hole like I'm doing it. You have to have yours actually measured to the right size, and then extrude. I'm going to extrude this out the back. Okay. Awesome. You can see now I have a place for the mechanism to come through. So once we're there, we need to create the Dxf files. And this part's a little bit complicated. I've done mine in multiple layers, so I need to actually create, I'm going to create one for each layer. And then kind of go from there. Although all mine will be the same, they'll just be rotated. So I could technically, because I didn't make any changes from one to one, I could just make one of the first one and then just in the next program make 4 copies of it. And then when I build it, I'll have to rotate it around. All right, so here's how we do it. First, we create a construction plane, and we create it on our top face. We start there, an offset plane. And what I want to do is I want this plane, right now it's sitting right on top of the top surface. So if I look at it from here, the plane is right on top of that top edge. I actually want it to be down inside that first layer, just a tad. So I'm going to just put on here an offset of -0.1. Just a little bit. Now it's just a little bit inside and click enter. I'm going to say okay, and that's perfect. And now I'm going to create a sketch on that plane. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to use what's called the Intersect Tool. So I'm going to come here and say create intersect. So project, include, intersect. And what I want to intersect isn't just a face, but the whole body. So I want to draw a line wherever that first layer goes through my sketch. Let me show you, see if I can show you what it looks like. So right now you can see this black line is my sketch from the side. Wherever this green part goes through the sketch, yeah, you can kind of see it like that. Wherever this green part here goes through the sketch, it's going to draw a line for me. So I'm going to click back, excuse me, to the front view. I'm going to say I want a sketch of this. And I'm going to say okay. And now I'm going to take this, I'm just going to hide all the bodies, and you can see that's the cutout it gives me. So the laser will just follow all these lines and cut out these middle pieces and leave the rest of this all as one piece. So that's my first one. So now here on the sketches pane, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say finish sketch. No, I don't want to finish sketch yet. Never mind. I actually need to measure how tall this is. Because when I bring this over to the next program, Inkscape, it's going to come in at some random size, and I have to scale it down to the right height. So to find out how high it is, I got to find the highest point and the lowest point and measure the distance between them. To do that, I need a line. So I'm going to grab a line tool, hit the construction, and I'm going to drag this straight across at 0 degrees, just like that. It doesn't really matter how long I drag it. I just want to make sure that this line is above my lowest point, so I can now measure from the distance. Hit escape to leave the line tool. I'm going to go to the measure tool. I'm going to go down to the lowest point here, and I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click on the line I just drew. And that's going to tell me that the total height here is 27.254 from the highest point to the lowest point. So I need to write that number down. So I'm going to grab a little piece of paper. I like to have a Post-it note next to me while I'm doing modeling. That way, if I have some numbers I have to write down, I'm always ready to go with that. My advice is just a piece of paper handy. So 27.254. So that's the actual height of the whole thing, of this layer at least. And I'm going to do close on the measurement tool. I'm going to actually delete this line because I don't want this to be part of my cut lines that's sent to Inkscape next. I'm going to come over here to the sketch. I'm going to double click on it, and then I'm going to change the name of it. And I'm going to call this layer 1. Whoops. Layer 1. And then I'm going to put a hyphen. I'm going to put this number in there so I have it for later in case I need it. 27. Except I'm not going to use a decimal point because periods and decimal points mess up file names. So I'm going to use a comma instead of a decimal point. 254. Okay. And right there, that's good. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's my new name. So I've recorded that top value. I don't have to try and measure it again. If I lose it later, it's always right there for me. So that's layer 1. So I'm going to finish the sketch. And now I'm just going to hide that sketch. I'm going to turn my bodies back on so I can see them. And now I want to do a sketch of that second layer. So in this case, the white layer here. So I'm going to do the exact same process, except this time I'm going to click on the construction plane, the offset plane. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to offset it down 1 layer. So I'm going to do, because right now it thinks up is positive, so I'm going to go negative on my distance. So negative thickness. That'll get it down to the next layer. So if I look at it from the left, notice how I'm right at the top of my second layer, but I want to be in that layer a little bit. So I'm going to do negative thickness, and I want to go down some more. So I'm going to do minus 0.1, minus just a little bit more. And now you can see it's right inside that second layer, just a little bit. So that's where I want to be, and click OK. I'm going to click back out to the front. I'm going to create a sketch on that construction plane. And then I'm going to do an intersect tool. So create and project include intersect. And notice if I go on the green one, it doesn't show me any red lines that's going to draw because the green one never touches that plane. It's underneath the green plane. But the white one, it shows me a red line around it. That means that it does go through that plane. It's going to draw a line for me. The gold one, again, no red lines because it's below the plane, and the black one's even farther below. So once I have that, I click OK. And now I need to go back here and I'm going to turn off my bodies. And that's the lines that it drew for me. So it looks similar, but it's a little bit different, and the height is different. So I need to measure the distance from this point to that lowest point. To do that, I need to turn on a construction line real quick, draw a horizontal line, just like that, so that it's at least above that point, escape. Then I'm going to come down here, click on this lowest point and this upper point, and that gives me 29,454. I'm going to write that number down. 454. And then I'm going to come over here to sketch 6. Actually, I'm going to say close the measurement box. I'm going to delete this line I added because I don't want it part of my final sketch. And I'm going to call this layer 2. And 29,454. Awesome. Now it's in there. I can go ahead and finish this sketch. It's done, and I can hide it. Now, if you only didn't turn my bodies back on, if you only did a 1-layer wall face, you can go ahead and move on to the next video. But I'm going to go ahead and make my other 2 because I had 4 layers on this one. All right, so again, I'm going to hit a construction. I'm going to go to my top face. This time I'm going to go 2 thicknesses down, so I'm going to be in the 3rd layer. So minus thickness times 2. And then I'm going to go a little bit farther down to put me just inside that layer. Right now I'm right at the top of the 3rd layer. So minus 0.1. We'll move down just a little bit more. Enter. And I can just check real quick. If I look at it from the left, I can see I'm just down into that gold section now. So that's perfect. Back up to here. Create a sketch. Do create, project include, and intersect. The green one gives me no intersection. The white one, none. The gold one, yes. Good. And the black one, no intersection. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to hide the bodies, make sure everything's just right. Yep. And now I'm going to find the highest and lowest point. So from here's the highest point clearly. turn a construction line on, make sure it's at 0, or in this case 180 degrees. Click so it's nice and horizontal. And then I'm going to do a measure tool. I'm going to measure from the very bottom to the very top. 27.845. So 27.845. Yep. I'm going to close the measurement window, delete the extra line I drew, rename my sketch, layer 3, 27.845. And I used a comma instead of a period. And once that's done, yep, I'm going to finish the sketch, hide the sketch, turn my bodies back on, and do the last one. So I'm going to hit an offset plane. I'm going to say start with the top of it, and I'm going to go down 3 layers. So minus thickness times 3. And I'm going to go down, because this is right at the top of the 4th layer. I'm going to go down a little bit more, minus 0.1. So now I'm inside the 4th layer. I can check on that really quickly. Right there. And yep, the green's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and I'm just inside that 4th layer. Create a sketch, and then go to Create, Project Include, Intersection. And now the only one that should give me a red one should be the black layer, should give me red lines. And okay. Hide the bodies again. Yep, perfect. I just need to find the high point and low point, and it looks like these are right above each other. So I can actually just go straight from one to the other. Here to here. 29.5. So that's my original one, 29.50. Okay, so on sketch 8, I'm going to double click. Oh, I need to close the measurement before I can rename it. And I'm going to call this layer 4, and it is 29,500. I always put all the numbers down even though I don't need them, just to make it consistent. I like that. Turn that off, turn the bodies back on. I'm going to save my Fusion. Well, actually, I'm going to finish the sketch first. Turn the sketch off. Go back to like the home view, and I'm going to save this. Awesome. I like to turn everything back on because Fusion uses this last image that you look at as a little thumbnail for the file. So if I have this, I'll know what the file is much easier than having some other random stuff. So this part is done in Fusion. So let me minimize this down, and I'm going to open up Inkscape now. Oh, that part's not done in Fusion. Whoops. So go back to this part. You need to actually save these files as DXFs. So right-click on Layer 1, Save as DXF. You're going to come up here, save it wherever you're going to save it at. Mine's in Clocks. And then I haven't made one yet, so new folder. I'm going to say this was a heptagon. 7-sided is hepta. Heptagon with heptagon 4 layers. How about 4-layer heptagon? Okay. And then in here, I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this cut lines, or no, Dxf Files. Dxf Files. Open that up. And I'm going to save this as the same name as that. So layer 1, and it is 27,254. 27,254. And hit save. Awesome. I'm going to do the same for each layer. So layer 2, save as DXF. Click here. Let me just say layer 2. And this one is 29,454. 29,454. Save. And just do the last 2. Oops, that went wrong. Uh, 27845. 27. And then the last one, save as DXF. 29500. All right, awesome. So I've got all 4 of my layers saved as DXF. The next video, I'll show you in Inkscape how to take those Dxf files and turn them into cut lines that you can throw on the laser and create a product with. Awesome. Have a great day, my friends.